Are you ready? Are you ready to let go? Are you ready to break a toxic, traditional cycle? Are you ready to forge your own path and set course towards a more righteous future? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then I want you to stay around for this video. Because, in my opinion, there's no game that better answers these questions than...
Help me save my uncle, and he will reward your men. He will make you samurai.
He's your family, Jin. I need to protect mine.
Ghost of Tsushima is one of those games that can't help but just stick to you. From the mesmerizing traditional Japanese OSTs, to the breathtaking landscapes during traversal, to the addicting gameplay that I like to think is how Assassin's Creed combat could have developed into by perfecting both the stealth and swordplay mechanics. But this video isn't going to be focusing on these things. Ghost of Tsushima tells the story of Jin Sakai, a samurai whose uncle and father figure gets captured by the Mongols during their battle at Komodo Beach. Now, I'll be honest, when I saw how this played out at the beginning, I was wincing at how cliché this was going to wind up being. Oh great, another story where we have to rescue a family member from invasion. But then we meet Yuna, and my expectations totally flipped as I saw the new beauty in where this story would take us. Cause you see, Jin has only ever known the way of the samurai, which is one of courage, facing opponents up front and head on, and doing everything within the code of honor and integrity. No shady tactics allowed whatsoever. But upon meeting Yuna and learning the way of being an assassin in the shadows, he regretfully performs some of these tactics at first, but then begins to understand not just the utility of this way of battling, but how it can actually be a ticket in saving the most amount of people possible. Lord Shimura understands Jin's actions at first in needing them to save him, and just wants his reassurance that he won't do it anymore and that all will be well. Honestly, Lord Shimura might be one of my favorite characters in video games, just because of how perfectly he represents the traditional and quote-unquote bad philosophy of the samurai. I had to put it in quotes because Shimura is far from bad. He is a loving uncle of Jin who deeply respects and wants to take Jin in as his own son. An emotional moment that Jin has always wanted as well, which makes his underlying feelings towards his actions that much more confused and puzzling. The decision that you'll have to make later on becomes much clearer. Become the symbol of hope that is the ghost, or forge down the path of the samurai and become your uncle's son. The emotions only heighten upon the death of Yuna's brother and the betrayal of Jin's childhood best friend, Ryuzo. And all these events lead to Jin becoming much more accepting of the way of the ghost in order to save his people and his island. It's so perfect because I love the way Jin struggles with this internally. Kind of like a kid who's been hanging out with the wrong crowd and is afraid of what his parents will think. From showing off a Mongol's head to the enemies, to eventually poisoning an entire Mongol fort, Shimura gives Jin one last chance to forego the way of the ghost, in which Jin replies with,
I am not your son. I am the ghost.
And you will be judged for it.
Alright, Now we can finally get to the part that I've been itching to get to all video. The final battle. This is the perfect boss battle in every way, shape, and form. This confrontation had such amazing build-up due to everything I've explained in this video, which is the emotional but tumultuous history between Jin and Shimura's philosophies. You just know something is off once you approach Shimura after defeating the Mongols, and you take a horse ride with him. As you approach what looks like a dueling field, you can't help but notice the yin and yang coloring of the battlefield, an indication of the contrasting ideologies of the two warriors. And then we get some of the best dialogue in all of gaming.
I will miss this.
So will I. The Shogun has declared you a traitor.
He ordered you to kill me.
The Ghost was an outlaw. He taught our people to defy their leaders.
To defend themselves.
With poison. A gift you gave to our enemy.
I had to stop you from throwing away our people's lives.
You have no honor.
And you are a slave to it.
Breaking a cycle is one of the hardest things for any person to do, especially when you're going against family and long ingrained traditions. It is one of the bravest things a person can do. One of the bravest things a person can do, in my opinion, is to do what's best for the greater good, even when it means going down your own path in the opposite direction of everybody else. And these themes are touched upon in the haiku that you have to write before you fight Lord Shimura. Yes, I'm writing a haiku before the final boss? Yes, I love this game. And I forget exactly what I wrote for each line of the haiku, but it was something along the lines of representing the bond that has been broken between the two, and how things could have been different in another life. And the last thing I want to discuss with this final emotional battle is, of course, the choice the game leaves with you after. I honestly think there is no wrong choice here, but I've heard that leaving Shimura alive is the good ending. The beauty of leaving him alive is that Jin is not succumbing to the way of the samurai in giving Shimura a warrior's death, which shows Jin's full rejection of the traditional way of even killing your own family for a flawed tradition. But then killing Shimura, which I chose, also has beauty to it in respecting the Lord's last wish and essentially doing one last samurai act before embarking on your path as the Ghost, which is giving Shimura his warrior's death. I cried at this because of how Shimura tells Jin to meet him in the next life, showing the pain and tragedy of just how everything turned out, and Jin acknowledges this as well. The power of individualism and breaking a cycle of tradition is touched upon perfectly throughout this game. Sometimes in media, I feel like this theme is made to seem easier than it actually is, but this game portrays all of the pain, tragedy, and difficulty that comes with doing this, with forging down your own path in breaking a cycle. Sometimes it can result in going against family or the ones you love, and accepting that you might have to distance yourself away further as you do what you know is right. And while Jin painstakingly tries to salvage his relationship with Shimura upon settling more and more into the Ghost, he realizes and accepts that they were not meant to be on the same page in this life. And that is the tragic beauty of it. Doing what is right for the greater good doesn't come without sacrifice. And that is the true meaning of being a hero, in my opinion. So, thank you, Sucker Punch, for creating such a beautiful game and a life-changing narrative. May we all walk the path of the Ghost, even if it may be uncomfortable and even tragic, but we know that it's right.